The purpose of this tutorial today is to show you some various ways you can have an online notebook. I'm going to show you two applications that can be used on any computer, Apple or PC. These are all cloud-based, which means you can get them on any computer you go into. It's based on the internet, so you go to that site and sign in. So the first one I want to show you is My School Notebook, and this is the page that you will get before you have an account. And one thing I want to bring to your attention, you'll see that it says sign in with Facebook. Now, either if you don't have a Facebook or just don't want your Facebook account linked to this, you have to click I hate Facebook. So it's not too clear about how else you can sign up. There are other ways. So if you hit I hate Facebook, okay, then you can register with an email and a password. Okay, so I've already done that. So I'm going to go to that page. Once you do that, this is what the page will look like. Okay, now I have these notebooks already added. Yours will be blank until we add some. So first I'm going to show you what a notebook looks like. Okay, so that was my literacy period 2. If you go up here, it'll tell you which one. You can change notebooks. They're listed up here. Okay, and here are the topics that I have in this notebook already. So let's create a new page in our notebook. So we would go up here. Okay, and that's where they're all listed. Now if we want to add a topic for a new page, we would click on add a topic. And let's say this one is going to be about plot structure. You would add a topic. Now it's still highlighted, which means you didn't save. You have to save it. Okay, and then it will have the page. Now to add notes down here, okay, you have to add a lesson. So let's click on add a lesson, and now we can type what we want. So you can use bullet points, okay, or arrows, different ways of different bullets. Okay, so let's say that title it plot, and then we want to put in the elements of plot. So we have our exposition, rising action, and then you can put in the rest of the definition that students may be copying from the board. Now you notice if you click enter to go to the next line, it automatically has the bullet points. So to get rid of bullet points, you actually have to come to this blank box here and click on that, and then you can continue to type down here without the bullet points. Okay, and this is how you would put in all your notes, and you always have to save it when you're done. Okay, another thing you can do is there are some drawing tools. So if we have some space and we click on this pencil, it brings up a whole other menu. Okay, with this menu now, you can put graph paper if you want. If you're doing something for math, and you just click it off if you want it off. You can put in circles, so if you want to make a Venn diagram, something like that. You can do free drawing, so a lot of times a plot diagram is represented with the line and then kind of going up and down. My line wasn't too straight, but you can use straight lines if you want to, so you can plot it that way, and it would be better looking. Okay, you can change the colors that you're using. So if you want to draw a red line, okay, and here's the eraser. Maybe I want to erase my crooked plot diagram. Okay, so here are some other tools that you can use as you're taking notes. And then remember, you have to hit save to have it save. A few of the things to point out to you are you do have the options with your notes. Let's hit edit so you can see them. Okay, you can edit and go back, as you see, and you can bold, underline, things like that, strike out. Okay, and then there are these other headings for heading 1 if you have different titles, if you want to arrange your notes that way. Another thing to notice is that they put the date, so the date that you actually have these notes, which is great for students, so you'll know what date, or you can refer to a date. Once you've taken the notes, you have a few options. You'll see you have this sharing button. So if you are on a Chromebook and you hit sharing, it will give you the option to put the email address in here. Okay, and you have to, right now it's publishing is enabled. So if you want to disable it, which meaning you can make this notebook public. So if you send to an email here, right now I'm not on a Chromebook so it won't work, but if you're on your Chromebook, then you can share this notebook with your students. Okay, especially helpful when they're absent. Another thing you can do, which also helps when they're absent, is you can upload the file. Okay, so you can always send this to somewhere else on your computer if you want it not just in your notebook, but if you want to send it, put it in as a file somewhere else. Export to PDF, which is nice because if you are sending it to students and it's notes that you don't want them to be able to change, you can send it as a PDF file. You can always print it. Okay, so those are options if you want it out of the notebook. Part of the reasoning for an online notebook is so that it's all in one place on your notebook, but that is an option, especially helpful to send to students when they're absent. One really useful feature of both of these apps is that they work offline. So if the internet's not working, the Wi-Fi in the classroom, you can still take notes and still access your notes, so you won't have to worry about that if the internet's down. So the other app I want to show you, you will get in the web store. So if you click on the web store, and once that comes up, type in notebook and enter. It's the first one that comes up. Mine's already added. Yours will have this blue box that says free, so you just click on that and you will download that app. Okay, and once you open it, it'll look like that. So now you can have different notebooks just like the other app, okay, with different labels. There's a few other features. So let's start by creating a new book. Okay, and let's say I want to call this one Social Studies. And I want it to be green, that I'm going to save it. It'll save it on my desktop. And if you want to go back and change the name or the color, you can edit it here. If you want to delete it altogether, you hit the little garbage can. So let's click on it. We want to open it up. And you'll see here there are some labels, and they say all labels, no labels. Okay, you can add labels. So if you click on the little label here, let's say you want a Do Now section in your notebook. It will put a label, just like a real notebook. Let's say you have a notes section. Notes. Once you have your labels set up, you'll notice that if I hover on this one, there's a little blue box here. And if you click on that, what will come up is it says Notes, your notes section. Do you want to publish this? Okay, and it will put it in a public notebook. So if you hit yes and you close it, all the notes that you put in here, if you noticed on your main page, there's a public book with a link. So if you share this link with your students, they can get everything that you put into this public book. So if you make it public, it'll go in there. If it's not, so for instance here, that now once you did it, this little Earth section is up there. If you don't have that there, then it's not going to go into that book. But if you wanted to, if you click on this and publish it, okay, this way students are absent, they can go in to the link, see what they missed for their Do Now, they can get their notes. So all of this is public that will go into that notebook. So if I'd like to add a note, I'm in my note section. I'll click on it, make sure that I'm there, and I have to go to this plus sign. It will add a note. Now first it'll say new note. You can't type in this box, you have to come over here. So if it's notes here, that's the section that it's in. Okay, if you just click on this, let's say we're going to take notes on the steps, the American Revolution. Okay, once you save it, it will change it over here. So I'm going to hit my little, okay, it's saved, and now you can see that it titled it from this first line of the notes. Now you can go on and you can take your notes. Now you notice you can insert pictures, you can insert emoticons, you can change the text, a couple of different fonts, you can change the size, and you can change the color. Okay, so you have some options here for what you can put on the page. Every time you want a new note, you would hit the plus button, okay, and that would give you a new topic. And then that's how you would click back and forth. So if you want to go to the page on French and Indian notes, or notes, you would go there, click on that one, and go back and forth. If you want to change where you're finding this, so let's say you want this in your Do Now section, you'd start another one. Okay, or you can take the notes from here and actually change or add the label. Do Now notes, so let's say I want it in my Do Now section as well. Now if I go to my Do Now, I will find it there as well. Okay, so you can move it to more than one section, or you can keep it where it is. If you don't want to use one of the dedicated apps for a notebook, you can always create your own using Google Drive. So if you go into your Drive, you can create New, and you can just create a doc. Okay, you could title it. Okay. Change the title to Science Notebook or Science Notes, and then just start typing notes. The downside with this is that You don't have different pages or topics. It's kind of just a long, one big long running document. So if you get to 50 pages of notes, that's going to get a little cumbersome. The positive side of it is it automatically saves. In the other two apps, you have to remember to save, and that's something students may forget. So this could be something that could be helpful, but again, it's going to get pretty long unless they kind of scroll here and see all their pages, and then they would have to remember to write the date and stuff. But there is the revision history as well, and there's also the tools from reference when they're finding references and things, and dictionary and word count. So this can be useful. It's just a different type of notebook.